Hey guys, this is Will back again. This is part 2 of the how to play Geekfight tutorial. Okay, so picking back up with win conditions. There are two types of win conditions. The main one would be the cred victory. Basically, dealing damage to the combatants and killing them is how to get a cred. So if you kill a combatant with damage, either combat damage or direct direct damage via tactic or skill, then that will get you a cred. There are other types of direct damage by forfeiting items or tokens that can be sacked or forfeited for damage. The only type of damage that won't be getting you a cred will be damage over time damage, um, but that's kind of a balance issue. Um, but it shouldn't be an issue anyways, because damage over time is a slow damage, and no one will usually let a cred go by and go to someone for damage over time damage. The other way to get a cred is, or I'm sorry, to win the game, is if you can force your opponent to begin their turn with no combatants in play and be unable to play a combatant, then you win the game. So if you can make them do a whole lot of discarding and kill their combatants that are in play, and then they're unable to play a combatant during their enter the arena step after drawing a card, then they'll lose the game. And if they're your only if they're your only opponent, then you'll win the game. So those are the two ways to win. Quickly, let me go through the phases. The beginning of turn is just a period of time where anyone can play something, or where effects will occur at the beginning of your turn before your draw step. So someone might want to do something at the beginning of your turn, or something might happen at the beginning of your turn. The next phase would be draw. This is where you draw a card. We put the draw step before the enter the arena step so that you have a chance to draw a combatant and keep yourself from losing the game. Enter the arena is when you would play your combatants. This is also the phase where you would rearrange your combatants. This is my hero right now because he's in front, and this would be my sidekick. If I wanted to, I could switch them. All items would come with my hero, so switching them would look like this, and I would bring this one to the front. Now this one's my hero, and this one would be my sidekick. There may be some other things that I'm forgetting that occur in the enter the arena step, but I think that's pretty much the gist of it, and I'll probably be getting you guys a full set of text rules also. The action step is where you'll be doing pretty much all the action of your phase. You can attack, play spells, snipe, do anything that you want really during this phase. Tactics, this is the only time that tactics and items can be played, though, is during your action step. This is also the only time that you can do your normal combat damage through attacking. The end of turn phase basically is just a point in time where you would say, I'm ending my turn, and you have to say that out loud and let everyone know that it's no longer your turn. At that point in time, everyone has a chance to play something if they want to. So if anyone wants to play a skill at the end of your turn or forfeit something, then that's when they would be able to do it before it goes on to the next person's turn. Also, some things happen at the end of turns, like distraction counters get removed at the end of the turn, and other things may happen at the end of the turn. Okay, so I plan on doing a walkthrough of a few turns in the game. Before I do that, I just want to cover a few more things that I pulled up in the rules. So this is on our website. This was put together by our resident artist, Ian King, and it's pretty handy for going through things and just getting a better sense of how the game is played. This is the play area. This is where you would put your combatant and or combatants. Equipment, 2 max items. You're only allowed to have 2 items in play. Some combatants will allow you to have more. Your deck goes here, your discard pile goes here, and you can deal with remove from the game however you like. Turning cards upside down is a convenient way to handle that. Combatants look like this. They'll have the resource, strength, and health with no pluses or anything like that. It's just their base stats. Items will have 3 jewels also, but they'll have pluses in their jewels to signify strength or resource bonuses. Some of them may have neither. And tactics or skills only have the resource cost jewel. I've already gone through all of the different areas on the card, but you guys can pause here if you want to look over that more closely. I've already gone through this. Again, y'all can pause the recording if you want to go through that closely. Okay, so spending would be the next important thing to cover. You can spend to do either resources or play a spend ability, but you can't do both, again, unless the card says otherwise. Spending happens instantly. There is nothing that happens faster. It doesn't even interfere with the queue. You don't have to put spending on the queue. Spending just happens instantly. Spending for resources happens instantly. Spending for spend abilities obviously would have to go into the queue. Also, you can barter items to add additional resources to your resource pool. Also, since you're only allowed to have two items in play, if you want to add a third, you can barter one of the items that is in play and play another one. Resources do, however, stay in the pool until the end of the round. So if I put 8 resources into my pool at the beginning of my turn, those resources will stay through the end of my turn and through my opponent's turn. And the beginning of my next turn, or right before my turn begins, those resources will be out of the pool. At the end of my last opponent's turn, I guess I should say, those resources go away. Okay, so on to abilities. There are a couple of types of abilities. Those abilities would be activated abilities, which include forfeit and spend abilities, and triggered abilities. Activated abilities are basically anything that you would activate. Those abilities are going to occur on cards that are already in play. Forfeit abilities, you would forfeit an item, and that would then allow you to do some action. It's a forfeit ability. Spend abilities are abilities that your combatants would be able to do by spending. The third type of ability would be triggered abilities. A triggered ability is something that would happen as a result of something else happening. If X, then Y. So if your opponent controls more combatants than you, something would happen. That would be a triggered ability. These are the types of resources that we have in the game. Cash, tickets, and tokens are currently available, and bandwidth is coming up. Generic is anything. So any type of resource would be able to use to play a generic item. Also, these are the different types of attributes that I was talking about. These are their icons, so you might recognize those. Quickly, weapons would have strength only. These are types of items. Armor would have health only, and this would be considered weapon and armor if it has strength and health onto it. And then very quickly, types of counters. We've got strength and frailty counters. Strength is plus strength, frailty is minus strength. Resource and tax counters, that would be plus and minus resources. And health and sickness counters, which would be plus and minus health. And nothing can be reduced below 0, with the exception of sickness counters, but that would result in death. It will not be considered damage, and you won't get a cred if sickness counters are the reason for death. Distraction counters are another extra type of counter. A distraction counter is a counter that would prevent someone from attacking, and distraction counters can be placed at different times. Sometimes it may seem weird if 2 distraction counters are placed, but the reason that that's done is because distraction counters are removed at the end of turn. So we have a card out right now that places distraction counters on someone if they're attacking. So 2 distraction counters would be placed, which one of those would be removed at the end of the turn, leaving one on during that opponent's next turn. So then they would not be able to attack during that turn. And that way, every time they attack, they're forced to not attack the following turn. Some distraction counters will go on during my turn. I would place a counter on your distraction counter on your combatant, which would prevent him from attacking during my turn. So, also the queue is something that we would need to go into a little bit of detail on. I'm almost on 10 minutes here, so I'm going to save the queue and a brief walkthrough of how to play a turn in Geekfight for my next video. So I'll be back in a second discussing the queue and doing a walkthrough.